As a first generation college student, just like any other student, I had the privilege of coming to search and tour different colleges and have experiences there prior to attending those institutions. I was able to visit the University of Montevallo as a junior in high school through an honor choir. There I fell in love with Montevallo, and then I also applied and was accepted here. I had a really great experience as a first generation college student. Of course, there were challenges here and there, but overall it was a wonderful experience.
I came from Bibb County High School. I graduated in 2014. I knew I wanted to transition directly from high school into higher education. While in high school, I was a part of the TRIO Upward Bound program. So that program really provided me with the resources and tools necessary to get me into higher education. So once I finished high school, I transitioned in. I was a Smith Scholar, so that kind of helped offset my educational costs while here in higher education. And so while I was in higher ed, very involved, I became a part of TRIO Student Support Services, which is another branch of TRIO. And then from there, I became a part of TRIO McNair Scholars Program, where I was able to conduct undergraduate research.
Neither of my parents finished high school. They were children of the Great Depression and of World War II, and they were too busy trying to survive the Great Depression. So when I came along in the early 1950s, my parents, from the time I can earliest remember, you've got to go to college, you've got to go to college. So when I finished high school, I never had in my mind that you did anything else but go to college. So thank the Lord for the University of Montevallo. I was raised in Calera, 6 miles away here. Got a little scholarship, academic scholarship to come here. And so that opened the door for higher education for me and for my children and for my grandchildren. We got our foot on the ladder of higher education because of that little scholarship from the University of Montevallo, and because my parents were determined that I was going to get a college education when they didn't even have a high school education.
Some barriers were support. Like, my family, they support me, but the type of support that somebody whose parents been to college and they know, it's the lack of that sometimes, having somebody in your ear like, hey, you need to do this, or I'm proud of you, or what is this, instead of like, oh, I didn't know what that was, or you got this scholarship, what did that for?
Being first generation, I didn't know who to ask questions to. I didn't know what kind of questions I needed to ask for. I didn't even know that the ACT was the thing I needed to take until my senior year of high school. I didn't know colleges had application fees, and I just didn't know what to do.
The main challenge for me was learning study habits. Of course, I studied in high school, but coming to college, studying is completely different. It's more than just taking home and doing your homework, but it's really sitting down and going over the material that you learn in your lectures and studying with other people. And so that was the main challenge for me, as well as getting involved on campus and learning how to balance my academic life with my social life.
I didn't know the resources available to students in general or first-time generation students. I don't even know if they had resources available to them at the time, back then.
It's really good for me to have those extended family / support systems such as TRIO, the TRIO programs, to kind of help when I came into higher education, kind of help me become kind of like complacent, and they kind of guided me where I needed to go, and served as that, as I said before, that support system while I was there.
I used the TRIO, Student Support Services, McNair as well, the counseling service here, and the food pantry as well.
I think at the top of the list I would put public library. Just the world of books. We went to a public library every Saturday. My mom let me pick out 3 books, and I read a lot of stuff.
My parents' dedication and commitment to access was a very nurturing component and a huge support. But one of my oldest, dearest friends growing up We knew each other from second grade on. Her father was a medical doctor, and he truly helped shepherd me through that process as well. I ended up attending a private high school that was committed to folks going on to college, and that was at his recommendation. Like, he reached out to my parents and said, you really need to see if she can do this. They have scholarship opportunities. This would be a great way for her to get ahead. And I don't believe they would have known to do that or sought that opportunity had he not been right there by my side. And I'm still close to their whole family to this day, and I'm really grateful for everything that he saw in me and that he supported.
All of the trio staff was very supportive in my transition into higher education. So to me, all of them are mentors for me. While I was in higher education, by me being a Smith Scholar, I had a mentor, Urist, and he was really beneficial and helpful during my time of being here. As well as, I have a really strong relationship with my family. So my family was very supportive of my decision to pursue that higher education degree. They stayed on top of me, although, as I said, they were blinded to, the overall college process. They stayed on top of me, and they held me accountable for things.
Well, one of the things I say to students when I give talks at the admissions events or whatever is, you could be me. I mean, I am a first-generation college student that worked really hard. I went to school on financial aid and loans. I worked really hard. My sister will say she's not that smart. She just works hard. So I think, it's applying yourself and working diligently and developing good relationships with faculty and staff, and having a good support system.
Usually we talk about these things as if there were barriers to overcome, but something to keep in mind is the resources you have that maybe are distinct to you. My parents got up and went to work every day, and they worked 8 hours, and that was the attitude I brought with me to college. And the fact of the matter is, if you get up and work 8 hours a day, you're going to do great in your classes. I didn't spend a lot of time sitting around talking about all the work I had to do or complaining about all the work I had to do. I just got up and punched the clock, and never understood people that had to, study at night. I punched out at 5 o'clock, man. I was an 8-hour-a-day college student. What I would say to people working with first generation college students, that's one characteristic. It doesn't mean we're all the same. Everybody's got their own story. And I think sometimes with the best intentions of, we need to do more for first generation college students, there's a tendency to flatten them and treat them as if that's the only thing that matters about them. And we've all got our own biographies, we've got our own narratives, and that's just one part of it.